Hello everyone, my name is Nilsor and welcome to my vault. Today on Fallout New Vegas 101 we are going to do an overall analysis of Old World Blues. Old World Blues takes place in Big Empty, formerly known as Big Mountain, where various laboratories were before the Great War supposed to crack open all the mysteries of science. Never in a previous Fallout title have we been able to witness what a cutting-edge technological facility could look like. It's not even sure that the Enclave, for example, did possess such an advanced installation. Microclimate generator, automated exoskeletons, new plant seeds or new species were among the many discoveries made in Big Mountain. All this led by the 6 geniuses of the think tank. The only problem was that all this science was made without weighing in any ethical considerations, a science without conscience we can say. If you take a second to consider all of this seriously, behind the wacky humor typical of Fallout, it's terrifying in its horror. Cazadores, Night Stalkers, walking trapped corpses, toxic red clouds, mountain being blown up, the Vault 22 spores, people being lobotomized, and even concentration camps. The worst part is, all this was already there before the war, but its compromised ethic is now even worse. Of the 6 members of the think tank, Mobius was the one who seemed to have the most guilt over what was happening, realizing the peril that his colleagues are to the world. This is why he used Big Mountain to contain the think tank in order to protect the rest of the world from them, to avoid having the world being their playground. To do so, he hacked their terminals and made them lose their sense of time, history and geography. Mobius implemented a recursive loop to keep them within Big Mountain by threatening them with great perils if they were to go outside. Giving them the idea of looking out for technologies that are supposed to be useful to defeat him will ensure that they will spend their time within the think tank dome trying to find a way to retrieve them. Mobius took it even further by erasing their names and giving them new ones that would help reinforcing the loop they are in. Indeed, all of their names have to do with infinite loops and endless repetitions. O is a loop, 8 sideways is the infinity symbol, Klein as in the Klein bottle, Borus, short for Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail, and Dala for Mandala, a circular geometric pattern. This tempering made them unable to remember exactly who they were, who they are, and where they are going, trapping them in a constant loop within their mindset in the present, unable to remind things properly or to project. Some stayed completely stuck on past events like Boris and his high school drama. This is where the term Old World Blues is coming into effect. It is used to describe a form of depression and anxiety, manifesting as an unhealthy obsession with the old world. The blues causes the affected person to distance themselves from the world around them, withdrawn from society, and become apathetic. Old World Blues can destroy valuable members of society, rendering them incapable of properly functioning in the present and planning for the future. Although justified, Mobius was horrified with what he had done to his former colleagues and friends. He then also tampered with his own terminal and changed his name as well for another one linked to an infinite loop, the Mobius strip. If you ask him now his motives for his past actions, Mobius is mentioning that he did it for science, a special kind, a con science. But unfortunately for him, in any laboratory, the environment needs to be tightly controlled if your experiment is to produce results. Problem is, Big Mountain had visitors from time to time, which slowly but surely made the think tank doubt that they were alone and in what time period they were. Another important theme in Old World Blues is the notion of duality between the mind and the body. If you look at the think tank, they disembodied their brains into robotic floating devices in order to live longer, unburdened by the usual human biology. They made a clear distinction between their mind and body, perceiving their biological self as beneath the spirit, without considering the fact that what made them was the combination of their biology and psyche. They are in the mindset of rejecting anything biological, considering their spirit to be the only important thing. Spirit who, with years passing, has gone crazy and became less and less capable of functioning properly despite the use of biogel, which even though preserves their brains for far longer than normal, is degrading slowly. All members of the think tank were geniuses before the war, but now, 200 years later, most of them seems to have lost a lot of their capabilities. Add to that the overuse of mentats, especially by Mobius, who now hands them out to the courier like a grandpa giving out candy, and you get the current think tank blabbling mostly nonsense, not realizing how demential they've become. All this also without having questioned themselves about what was the point of it all. If they are no longer humans, what is the point of doing science and experimenting? If they were to crack the secrets of the universe, what would that bring? If they are no longer in the mindset of using the findings of their experiments to further humanity's greatness, then what is it all for? It doesn't seem that they even know nor care. The irony is that, despite wanting to cast aside their biology and emotions to only have a pure scientific and logical mind, they all still feel very human emotions. Lust for Dara, anger for Klein, pride for Owen Boris, sadness for 8 after losing his voice, and guilt for Mobius. This theme of the dichotomy between mind and body is also illustrated with the confrontation between the courier and his or her brain. Each one is seeing the other as its master. The brain thinks the body is deciding all by itself to wander around, getting poisoned, ingesting irradiated food and other pleasantries. Whereas the body believes the brain is the one making all the decisions only to be obeyed. Both fails, at least at first, to realize that there are two entities, but what makes the courier as a whole is the sum of the two and their interactions. Interestingly, if you decide to leave your brain in its tank at the end of the DLC, the bad karma version ends up in a similar state of dementia as the think tank, seeking to be the only real thing in existence, losing its grip on reality after being separated from a body for a long time. The good karma version, on the other hand, didn't wish to pursue living above the number of years it should and is letting itself die naturally instead of senselessly wishing to become immortal like a god. Which brings us to the last theme, the notion of hubris. Hubris is a term coming from ancient Greek stories designating the idea of a mortal trying to go above its station and using various means to reach a more godlike status, like being all-powerful, immortal, and having supernatural capabilities like flying. Every time the gods are angered and strike down the mortal with various curses and afflictions. Here, in the case of Oddworld Blues, we have the think tank who thought they could live on far longer than they should by using science to disembody themselves into robotic life support. It might have worked, but at what cost? No sense of right and wrong anymore, dementia, and no notions of time and space. It seems their punishments for trying to outrank their status was to become crazy in the process. Their desire for greatness is also seen in the AIs from the think, where the think tank gave personalities, lives, to inanimated objects. It's basically like playing gods giving life. Even unfair gods in the case of Muggy, doomed to be obsessed with killing mugs, being aware of it but unable to stop, cursing his creator. These creations didn't turn on their gods, but they cheer and are happy when the courier beats the think tank. Taking a step back, anyone with a little bit of right mind left would have maybe questioned their motivations after blowing up an entire mountain. But not the think tank, they just kept on going. If you are speaking metaphorically, the explosion of the mountain can be interpreted as the science they are using literally exploding to their face and exposing to the world the madness that was hidden underneath for everyone to see, or at least those that made their way to Big Mountain. Or as of now called Big Empty, maybe because it is used to scare off people to not come here, but also to make an echo to the emptiness of mind that the think tank has now. The think tank weren't the only ones who maybe stayed too much focus on the past. Another person, another courier, might have spent too long clinging to how things were to truly grasp how things could be. On the next video, we are going to change the scenery and talk about the history of the divide. Thank you for watching. and see you later.